important to understand some of the dynamics of social networks. It's really interesting how online social networks work. One is that there's a dynamic that people who run networks call the 1-9-90 rule, which is 1% of your members do the vast majority of the talking. 9% chip in occasionally, and the other 90% just lurk. In fact, the numbers are not really that. There's about, according to Forrester, it's about 17% of all people who participate in social networks actually ever contribute any content, meaningful content at all. But you do have about 1% who are very, very active. There's a guy on LinkedIn who's contributed 25,000 answers to questions on LinkedIn over the last 5 years. That's someone special. There are people on Yelp who have contributed 5,000 and special. You can put quotes around special if you want. There are people on Yelp who have contributed 5,000 restaurant reviews for free, for nothing. And the key to social networks is to find out who these people are and mobilize them, because they are the people who are going to mobilize large numbers. It's what's the first thing people started doing on Twitter? Counting their followers and boasting about their followers. So people do the same thing on Facebook to some degree. This personal prestige, the contributions that people make in exchange for an enhanced profile in the community, very powerful motivating force. And when you look at successful communities, invariably they will pick out the 2%, the 1% or less of their members, and they will make them into heroes. And those people become the leaders of the community, and they drive the action of so many others. So not all members are created equal.
So, Joe, talk a little bit about this idea of iterating. I liked the whole idea of the leadership aspect that Jack raises and that Paul talks about, whether, if you're running a nonprofit, you're involved in a nonprofit, you have to get in there, jump in, try it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's essential to running a smart program that's going to have the ROI, but also that's going to inspire people. And so a lot of times that was just getting gut reactions to content we were putting out on the Obama campaign, for instance, but also telling making sure that you're telling the stories of leadership. So I think what Jack's saying is important about getting leaders out there in front, but also for an organization, it's about showing the others who are getting out there in front as well, to show a model of how you want your supporters to be. Right? So on the Obama campaign, it wasn't just about showing Obama as a leader or showing David Plouffe, the campaign manager, or me or my staff, but also profiling all the volunteers who were doing the right thing of taking control of their block or their community, particularly in places like, in 2007, a place like North Carolina, where if you lived in North Carolina, you had no business thinking that there was going to be a primary there that would mean anything, or that that state would be competitive in the general election. But we made sure we told stories of people who were stepping up and showing that leadership as well, making them into the heroes, as we're saying.
Well, and that's really important in the nonprofit world too, just to tell the stories, identify the stories of success or people you're helping, right? And making sure that your audience knows about those so that they see the work that you're doing and see the benefits of it.
Yeah, well, I think we've embraced the same principle with 2 pages on Facebook that we run out of my office. It's the Global Disaster Relief page on Facebook and the Nonprofits on Facebook page. And both of those are really there just to spotlight really innovative, great uses of the platform by a range of nonprofits and groups that they care about particular issues. And so I think it's really important, as Joe said, to kind of prop them up and show them as an example, and others can learn from that lesson. The only thing that I would add to the prior conversation was don't only look internally at what and get your leaders involved. I mean, look at other organizations that are the same size as you, and see what they're doing and learn from their successes and failures, because I think that's a really valuable tool as well.
Exactly what a conference like this one is all about. Yeah. So it's a great opportunity to
do some social networking in the room.
Exactly, exactly. Craig, am I right that with reading about Craigslist Foundation and what you're trying to accomplish there is you're exploring how to share, how to build community, right, and how to share best practices. So now, are you looking to create a technology tool that will accomplish that, or is that more just the practice of how information should be shared effectively?
Well, that's being discussed, and again, oddly enough, my focus is on reminding people that what social networking is about talking to people, and then talking to people a lot more. The difference between talking to people before the internet and now talking to people with the internet is everyone's printing press, and that means you can talk to a lot more people at a time. It does mean a lot more people will be competing for the attention of other people, which is a downside. Another downside is the problems associated with any kind of success, because any of the efforts I've heard about people doing here may subject you to people who, well, a lot of what you'll be doing will be to threaten entrenched interests and power. Be prepared for that. Watch out for astroturfers, because I'm already working with some very large organizations with potentially very big social networks getting online rapidly. They are already being attacked by astroturfers. It's the whole political dirty tricks thing. Think about that. So the technology has its importance, but the real stuff is just what you already know. Talking to people, and then watch out for dirty tricks, because those folks are already operating. Read an article called Rogues of K Street, and watch out for stuff, because frankly, not only the people that I'm talking to are being attacked, but I'm being attacked personally, and so you got to watch out for that kind of stuff, because that will be part of your reality if you're any good at what you're doing.
Are there open source places, open source tools that are out there that nonprofits should be looking at, that that you would recommend, or how to go about trying to think about what to invest in and investigate that? Any thoughts on that?
Your blog is a place to tell your story. That's your long form. Twitter is your place to magnify your story, because Twitter has this amazing amplification power. A company called that does the share this icon that you see all over the web did a study and determined the average message on Twitter is retweeted, I think, 18 times, which is orders of magnitude greater than any other network. Facebook is a place that you build community, and LinkedIn also has its own value in that respect. YouTube is a place that you get visual. Use the public services. I can't really say why. I can't see why a nonprofit. Maybe people here would differ with me. Why a nonprofit would want to go the trouble of setting up a Drupal server when you have these very good free services available out there.
Well, I'll just chip in. I mean, I think that to put in a plug for what I guess counts as old media nowadays, having an email list is incredibly important, and sending out good email to it. Our email list on the Obama campaign was 13 million people, which was 1 out of every 5 people who voted for us. We were in direct communications with them, and we didn't have to have them come to our site or whatever. We were able to segment based on their location, what they wanted to be interested in, whether they had donated, how much they had donated, whether they made phone calls for us or hosted events in the past, things like that. So that's incredibly important, and there are free and cheap tools to set that up. I mean, the free stuff is frequently hard because you need a nerd to set it up and deal with that. And as a non-technical person, I wouldn't know how to do that. But there are the sort of cheap services for nonprofits, whether it's Disclaimer, Blue State Digital has a technology side, but also Democracy in Action and Convio and the various people that can just rock that out pretty easily for you without any technical involvement.
Yeah, Joe's absolutely right. I mean, capturing that email address, that's the holy grail, right? That's someone's giving you permission to enter their private space, their inbox. He's absolutely right.